All right, guys. Welcome to this week's Team Huddle. It's Road to Hall of Fame, episode 3. I'm really excited for you guys to hear from the 3 guest speakers that we have today. I'm going to introduce one of them, and then she's going to introduce the other 2. But this team is just blowing up. I'm really excited to work with them. So Cindy Kiley and her husband Jason protected almost 900 families last year between the 2 of them. So that's insane. They've been with the FFL for 2 years. They have a lot of momentum going on. So let me go ahead and make her a panelist, and then we'll make Joe and Seth as well. Hey, Cindy. Oh, you're muted.
Hi there. Can you hear me now?
I can, yes. So here we go. And then. All right, so I just promoted all 3 of you. Okay, awesome. So I'm just gonna mute. I'm really excited to hear from you guys. So Cindy, I'll let you introduce Seth and Joe and take it away from here.
All right. So hey, thanks for having me on, Elaine. Really grateful to be part of such an incredible company. I'm really happy and pleased to be able to introduce both Joe Catran and Seth Lucas today. Both of them are top producers, and they help a lot of families. And one of the things that I've always liked myself when talking with or learning from other people in the business is about some specific things that they're doing. I'm going to start with Seth Lucas. Seth won an award from Mutual of Omaha and was announced at our Hall of Fame dinner. He got the #1 place for persistency and placement in all of Mutual of Omaha. And he got a very sizable bonus that anybody would be more than happy to have, where he could take himself and his family on a very nice vacation of their choosing. And so Seth, I'd like for you just to introduce yourself and tell us where you're from, and then tell us a little bit about how you do that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I'm Seth Lucas, obviously in your organization, been here for a couple of years. And yeah, I mean, we've talked on a few calls, and always we tailor these things for new people coming in. But my background has always been in insurance. I spent 5 years prior to getting into the IMO space with a military insurance company, USAA. And it was, the highlight of my life to be able to, quit home remodeling and work 40 hours a week and be able to go home and not asked to do anything more the rest of the week. That was kind of cool. But it was a family life event that kind of brought us into this space because we wanted to protect families. And, before it happens, before it happens to you, I guess you don't really think about it at all. Thinking about it, my eyes were open to the possibility of helping other families. And then it just got to a point where I had to jump on board, jumped on board with the good old practice company, as we always hear. And, FFL was always out there, and it was something I just never really looked at. But once I finally did finally look at it, I realized that this is a place where I can be, and I can be rewarded at the highest level for helping as many families as I do. So knowing that that was my passion and that was my love, there was no other place in the business to do it than right here at Family First Life. And it's definitely paying off in terms of enjoyment, happiness. And it's funny, we came over in June of the 2020. So right in the height of the COVID pandemic thing there. So I've been doing on Zoom since February, the end of February of 2020, when it started to get kind of crazy. And I've been doing it ever since then. And it's been a blessing because now I have, 30 licenses and I get to help people all across the country, even in your neck of the woods when you need me, which is kind of cool. So I just couldn't be happier to be on this call and part of your organization and Elaine and Trey's and everything like that. And so thank you for having us.
Yeah. And so tell me, give me 3 tips of how did you get to win #1 in all of Mutual of Omaha across the entire United States? What do you think makes, tell us 3 tips of how you get, your persistency and placement to get you that #1 spot with Mutual.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if I knew exactly what did it, I would tell everybody. It's one of those things, I don't want to talk about it too much because I feel like I might jinx myself. But really the #1 thing that I do that I attribute to creating a great relationship with the client is I've always had the posture, and I'll say this time and time again, that I create an environment where the clients feel like it's not them versus me. It's the 2 of us or the 3 of us or the family and me against the insurance companies. And nothing to say that we have anything against the insurance companies, but more importantly, they just feel like they have a friend, right? They have that buddy that's going to get them that backroom deal or, go that extra mile for them. And I foster that environment from the time we book the appointment all the way through to the last, statement. I look forward to hearing from you when you receive your policy packet in the mail. The whole time from that whole thing is I'm fostering an environment where it's us working together. And that I think what that does is it prevents a lot of think about it, because now when they want to think about it, they want to think about it with me and have that conversation mutually. And then also, they know who's going to get called when that day happens, when that terrible moment comes. They know I'm the guy to call. They're never going to have to worry about anything once they make that phone call to me, and they have a guy. And sometimes we have a back and forth banter. I'll say to people, when you're sitting at Thanksgiving dinner and your know-it-all brother-in-law who's a garbage man or a mechanic, which I'm not knocking those jobs, but when they talk about insurance to you and what they know about it, just call me up on that day. And everybody's got my personal cell phone number. Everybody text, has a text message with me before we get off the appointment. And now they know they got a guy. So I think that's the #1 most important thing. Create that environment. Even if it's a one-on-one, it's the 2 of you versus the carrier. If it's a couple, it's the 3 of you versus the carrier. And it puts a lot of people at ease that way. #2 is to be the most well-rounded underwriter in all forms of business. And that means knowing your product, knowing your carriers, and knowing the different caveats to get people through, right? And knowing how those things work. And I'm not saying to anybody that's new on this call, I'm not saying you have to be a product knowledge expert before you do anything. I was not a product knowledge expert when I got into this business, but I just threw myself into the business, and I was willing to say, okay, well, 3 out of 10 are most likely going to need help no matter what I say, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to work and get better so that eventually I can get help 6 out of 10 families, 7 out of 10 families, 8 out of 10 families, and just be more productive that way. And so that was kind of my thing. I didn't know spironolactone. I didn't know metformin. I didn't know, all the different types of heart medications there. I didn't know any of these things. But by just being open to learn and looking at that first 180 days as a learning experience, and no matter what happened, my commission was experience, then that's what I went into it. And I just got better and better and better. And I kept notes and just always was never afraid to call never afraid to call the carriers and do that risk assessment with the underwriter. And what I would do is I would actually position that risk assessment in so many different ways Like, okay, so what if they have this? All right, so say they don't have that, but they do have this. And it was just, just doing that over and over and over, I became the professional. I became the business professional and the expert. So that's number two. I'd say number three would be downselling. And nobody likes to hear this, but sometimes people like to know what their top option is, and then they like to know what the middle option is and what the bottom option is. It's okay as an agent to say, hey, right now, while we're trying to get you approved, why don't we start you with the middle or the bottom option? And if it's ultimately what you guys end up wanting to go with, we can modify it and change it and go back up to that top option later. And that's so refreshing for people because they think in a sales environment, it's typically what it is. The guy, the sales guy or the sales gal wants to get you a top, product. But when I realized, hey, if I show top product, good, better, best, and let the client decide, and we're in this together, then we've made that decision together, and there's no back and forth. I've oftentimes said at the beginning of a presentation, and it's one of my one-liners, I always, when they're confused about what we do and what our role and purpose is, and I say, think about it this way. If you walked into the grocery store of life insurance to buy mortgage protection or final expense coverage, I'm just a guy pushing your shopping cart to make sure we grab the right stuff off the shelf. Does that make sense? And they're just like, yeah, that does make sense. So they have this feeling of like, hey, this is my guy. And those, I would say those are the three best ways I can put into and verbalize into words that I think attribute to my persistency and placement. And what's really cool is anytime something comes up, I get a phone call, I get referrals, I get different things like that. And it makes us feel real good as as an agent to be able to help people that way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I'm sure your people they got a guy and you're it. So it was really fun to hear you announced at that dinner and to see everything that you're doing. And the other thing I love that you're doing, Seth, is like, you're helping so many people into this company. And like, I don't know, I know that you and I and Joe, we're all the same. We all came from that former IMO and we're just loving being here. So I'm really grateful to work with you. I'm really excited to see what the future holds for you and your entire team and everyone involved. So thank you so much for all the good work you do.
Thank you.
All right, Joe Catran. So Joe Catran, he is very consistent writer on my team. He crushed it at our former IMO. He's crushing it here even more so. Every week, he's at the top of the leaderboard, helping lots and lots of families, always in a good mood, always takes a call, always willing to help, always making people laugh. Right. So Joe, I just want to I looked at the numbers for our team and you beat me again. And I love that. I was like, Joe's going to love it when he sees the numbers. Right. And tell us like what you're doing to help so many families. And like, I love what like Seth did. He gave us some very tangible things. I love the whole, like the shopping cart thing. Like, these are things that like, I'm telling you, I learned from Stephen Yee, and I verbatim say the majority of everything he said, right? Like, and so I encourage you to tell people like exactly what you're saying in the home to help as many families as you do.
Absolutely, Cindy. Good afternoon, everybody. Anybody that doesn't know me, Joe Catran here, Spring Hill, Florida. So it's really quite simple. There's no dragging it out. Persistency is key. I mean, I have lead campaigns. I spend money on leads. I get leads in. I get call-ins in. A good 70-80% of them get scheduled, and I end up writing quite a lot of business. There are some weeks that I go and the entire week I've written. There are some weeks I go and I didn't write one single policy. Some weeks I go and I write a couple of policies. But I do this business full time. This is my only source of income, plain and simple. There is no dipping the toe in the water. There is jumping right in. cold, hot, sharks in the water, doesn't matter. This is what I did. That being said, when I'm in the home, I have a real specific way that I approach people. I try to give them a little bit of comedy. I mean, I can do like a presentation for you and Cindy and for Cindy and Seth and everybody. First thing I tell them, I mean, after making a little bit of a connection, I mean, I tell them point blank, all right, folks, we are gathered here today in the presence of, no, I'm not officiating a wedding, Marion County. That's how I literally started out. And I'm already breaking ice right there. People are chipping down. And I tell them, because you filled out an inquiry regarding mortgage protection, which in the event of a disability or a death can either pay down, pay off, or assist in making mortgage payments. And they want me as the underwriter to come out and verify you're not 1 foot in the grave and 1 foot on a banana peel. That's literally what I say. No joke. And sure enough, then I say I have some questions for them. And granted, this is a very unique team here. We're all from the practice company and all, but I have a sheet that I fill out and I get, and it's a very perfected sheet. I'm willing to share it, put it up on the screen, whatever y'all can see it. But I start out with the guy, ask him for his height, weight, his birthday, and again, then I go to the girl and just go down and gather information, find out about their dependents, find out about their mortgage premium, how much they owe, all that good stuff, find out about other insurance policies. And they also find out about other investment vehicles they may have, 401ks, IRAs, whatever, annuities. And if I see something there, like an annuity or a 401k potential, I'll tell them it's interesting you brought that up. As a state appointed underwriter, I have the ability to help folks out with those. And I'd like to see if I could put you with one of the top 10 annuity carriers. But we're going to talk about that here in a second. Right now, what I want to do is I want to focus solely on why we're here. And we end up chatting for a few minutes. And during that chatting time, I don't do any of my numbers before I get to the house. I don't do anything. I take 5 minutes and I pull up good, better, best. Depending on the situation, good, better, best always changes. But I'll start with John Hancock, Americo, and Mutual of Omaha. And I'll tell them point blank, the majority of mortgage protection comes with 4 components: terminal illness, critical illness and critical injury, and death. That would be something like the good coverage. The good coverage is like a cheese pizza. Everybody likes a cheese pizza. When you ask for delivery and toppings, that's when things get a little bit different. And then we go down to the better coverage. I'm thinking of a younger folks like you guys. I'm looking at you, Seth and Cindy. I would present John Hancock as good. Then I would go to better. Better would be America. When it comes to some carriers, they offer an additional rider, a chronic illness rider. And I explain to them what a chronic illness rider is. And I tell them about America. So now we have 4 riders plus a death benefit. And then the best coverage, in my opinion, Seth, you can pat yourself on the back, is Mutual of Omaha IULE, Indexed Universal Life Express, because I did some homework in it. And it's unless we're talking about a smoker or a senior, it's going to work out. Comp's a little bit different on it. But if you end up writing that, the coverage is going to last them their entire life. They're going to have all the living benefits, and they're going to have a cash value. And I literally go through good, better, best. And for younger folks, the way that works out is John Hancock is cheapest. Americo's a little bit more expensive. Mutual of Omaha is maybe $1 or $2 more expensive, but it's a different kind of program. They pick something. I say, all right, folks, give me some driver's licenses. And I got 2 computers set up and I'm bouncing back and forth. And filling out those applications. I usually get auto approvals. In some cases, I don't. If I don't, I'll pivot real quick. And when I'm all done, give me for 1 second, I'm gonna grab something. I'm all done. My people, I pulled one of these out of my bag. It's a folder that I created. It has the Family First Life logo on there. At the top, it specifically says, before any changes are made, contact me. And I write on here their name, the carrier we put them with, the monthly payment, the premium date that things are being withdrawn, the face amount, and the policy number. That is what they're going to store their policy in when they get that policy. Done deal. And I tell them I hate handing out business cards because people lose them. So I have my business card printed right on the inside label. And I tell them, you'll never lose my telephone number if you scan that barcode, because it'll import directly into your phone. And even today, I had a top producer call me from down south because he went to my Citrus County, one of my Citrus County clients, and he saw this folder. And he said, oh, you're already with a good company and a good policy. And he left it alone. He called me to let me know that he did that. And that's it. Here's the back of the folder. It shows a bunch of logos that we represent. That's all I got. That's what I do. And it's repetitive. It's continuous. And it doesn't work every time. But you know, like I said, step and repeat, step and repeat, step and repeat. Win, lose, draw, doesn't matter. My full time. So I'm going to step and repeat, step and repeat, step and repeat. That's it.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Joe. That's so much good nuggets. I see people commenting how much they like that folder. The folder's awesome. That really, you know, brings something, I think, special to the table where it makes it more memorable. People have that. The QR code, you know, is awesome. I ended up trying to do that, and I have it in works to do it. So I think like the thing that when you look at people who are successful, like Seth and Joe, what they're doing is they're coming up with a presentation, right? That they use it consistently, right? They're not saying something different to every person they meet. And that's, I think, the same thing for many top producers, is that you find something, a presentation where you're laying, you know, all your cards on the table in a very direct manner, and you're using that deck every single time, right? And that's why you see people like Seth and Joe consistently help a lot of people. Their business stays on the books. And it's, you know, it's just so fun to be in business with you guys. So it's fun to see people who come over from our other company at very low comp, come over here with top comp, and to see what you can do for yourselves and your family. And then again, for those people that you bring in and you help, you know, bring onto the team. Joe, what I think would be really great is if you could share if you want to, your email address in the chat. A lot of people are asking, like, Joe, we'd like to see, you know, this. And I know Joe's got it in,
I'm actually typing the response in because I see them too. So if anybody, either you're going to have I made it over at Vistaprint, and you can find a discount code for it. But if y'all want to create the folder yourself, you can. That's going to be tediating. Or you're more than welcome to call up Vistaprint and say, hey, I'm Joshua Rockwood, and I'd like to create a folder. A coworker of mine gave me his account number. It's the folder labeled "Copy Me," and they will move it from my account, copy from my account and put it on your account. This way you don't need to spend an hour putting all these pictures in there and putting all the lines and the templates. So
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Joe, for that. It's just such an honor and a privilege being here at Family First Life. I mean, it's life-changing. Many of you who are out there, I see a lot of people kind of commenting who are crushing it right now, and many of you who will be crushing it here in the future. Just work your tail off. I strongly believe you can have it all here. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a business owner. I take my weekends off. I did my time like working weekends and doing that. Sometimes I work weekends, but you can have this business, you can have your family time, you can have it all here. Initially, it's going to be a lot of work, maybe working some weekends, nights, weekends, 7 days a week initially, but it becomes easy. This difficult business can become easy if you put the work in it. And the time, right? It doesn't happen overnight, but it's worth it. So I think where a lot of people fail is they just don't try hard enough. They don't push themselves, right? They think they are, but they really don't, right? And find somebody that you like, that you want to emulate, and call them and buddy up with them. That person for me was Stephen Yee, right? So again, it's just such an honor and a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having us all on the call. Just so everybody knows, Family First Life Untamed, my agency, we're having a grand opening in Madison, Wisconsin on April 7th. Sean Mike will be here at 3 p.m. I believe Joe Catran might be in Madison doing part of the training with Evan McClure and some other individuals. Elaine Flinchbaugh is going to be here. We're super excited about that. I just got word Trey is coming. And of course, Sean Mike will be here doing the grand opening at 3 p.m. On April the 7th. So please join us if you can. And I hope you all crush it this week. Thanks so much. Have a great week. And make it a good one.